Welcome back to Talk of the Town, and I'm joined now by Bill Lockwood, and you are a key account specialist with Aquire Restoration, Inc.
Correct.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And so we're going to talk about fire and water damage and also emergency services and kind of a little bit of everything that you guys do. And you guys offer so much to people.
Yes.
So I guess let's start off with that first. What do you guys do? What do you guys specialize in?
The main thrust of what we do is fire and water damage, cleanup and restoration work. But we also deal with other things such as mold, smoke, biohazard spills, trauma scene cleanup. We can deal with sensitive issues that might include lead and asbestos abatement and removal. So but overall, the water and fire damage is what makes up the bulk of the business that we do.
Wow.
And we provide those to commercial and residential properties in the markets that we serve.
But what a wide, coverage area of different services. Because I'm guessing, things like that happen. Maybe you have a fire or emergency service cleanup, kind of like you mentioned.
Yes.
Things that you don't really think about that you'd have to handle until they happen to you and life happens to you, and then you need to know who to call.
Right, and if you did a quick survey just walking down the street and said, name a restoration company, 90+% people wouldn't even be able to name one.
Right.
And so it's our job to get out there and make the right relationships with the right industries so that in their time of need, we'll be there for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Could you share a little bit of the history too for Aquire Inc. and how you guys kind of came to be?
Sure. Our owner, Jeff Edmonds, he started out in college and out of college in the construction industry. And then he transitioned over to restoration, working for one of the large national brands before he decided to open up his own restoration company in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Since that time, we've opened an office in Kaukauna. We've got our office here in Madison, which has been here for 5 years, and then we also have an office that we recently opened out in Waterloo, Iowa.
Nice.
It gives us a tremendous advantage in market coverage.
Absolutely. And what would you say is Aquire Restoration strengths? I mean, you guys already do so much, so I can imagine that's one of your strengths for sure.
Yes. Well, everything starts with leadership. The owner, Jeff Edmonds, is just a tremendous visionary, and between him and Josh Duggan, the vice president, they pretty much set the culture for the company, setting up as far as the training, the policies, the standards, the certifications that we go out of our way to make sure that we have qualified individuals on the job site taking care of the work when they arrive at the scene.
Absolutely. And how would you say, too, that translates over to what customers will see?
Well, a good thing for the customers, when our phones ring, people are generally in a very high emotional frame of mind.
I can imagine.
And so it's our job to kind of start that healing process, if you will. One of the great things I like is, when people ask me, well, why do you do what you do? I say every day we get to be somebody's hero. So the rapid response that we offer, being available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, these are all things that are important, especially when that phone rings in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
The other things that we look at is that we offer one point of contact. Instead of having to go after 2 or 3 or 4 different vendors to take care of this overall problem, you just have one number to call. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. And I brought like a quick example just to show you. This is a large fire loss here in our market that came into play. And this is what we arrived to when we were called into the scene. And as the phases go through, it's still a job that we're working on, but we took care of all of the cleanup and the demolition of the property. We blasted the foundation to make sure that it was a clean surface to reconstruct. And now we're in the middle of the reconstruction process for that home.
Oh, look at that.
We've already, there's an update. There's a roof that's been added to that as well. So again, we can do everything from start to finish. And that's one of the big advantages that the customer has when they deal with our company.
Wow. I went through a home fire when I was a kid with my family, but you're totally right. Something like that happens. You don't really prepare for things like that to happen. But imagining what my parents must have gone through, not only are you trying to manage your family, but now you have to think about your home. So that's really where you guys come into play.
Right. When people are displaced, we want to try and put them back to whole again as quickly as possible. And that's really the big thing that we drive for.
Where can people give you a call or come find you before we go?
Well, we're located on Applegate Road, 925 Applegate Road. It's between Park Street and Fish Hatchery Country Road off the South Belt line. I would encourage people to give us a call if they want to come out and look at our facility, see how we're set up and the kind of the service that we can provide. We would welcome the opportunity to show them.
Beautiful building, so be sure to check it out. Bill Lockwood again with Aquire Restoration, Inc. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And Talk of the Town will be back with more right after this.